Ethiopia's election highlights the challenges of democracy in times of conflict. As Ethiopians head to the polls, the election is drawing attention not only because of who may emerge victorious, but also because of the significant challenges facing democracy in one of Africa's most important nations. While the government has expressed confidence in the electoral process, the inability of millions of citizens in conflict-affected areas to participate has raised concerns about inclusiveness and national representation. Entire regions affected by insecurity and political tensions have been excluded from voting, highlighting the difficulties of conducting elections during periods of instability. The election also reflects the broader struggle between political reform, national unity, and security concerns. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed came to power with promises of democratic change and political openness, earning international recognition for his early reforms. However, years later, his administration faces criticism from opposition groups, human rights advocates, and media organizations over issues relating to political freedoms, conflict, and governance. Supporters of the government point to economic reforms, infrastructure development, and efforts to modernize the country as evidence of progress. Critics, however, argue that ongoing conflicts and restrictions on political space have weakened public confidence in democratic institutions. Another major concern is the continuing instability in parts of the country. Violence in several regions has resulted in loss of life, displacement of communities, and growing uncertainty about Ethiopia's future. Political disagreements in Tigray and tensions involving neighboring Eritrea have further increased concerns about long-term stability. The situation demonstrates that elections alone cannot guarantee democracy. Strong institutions, political inclusion, respect for differing opinions, and lasting peace are equally important for building public trust in the democratic process. As Africa's second most populous nation, Ethiopia's political direction matters not only to its citizens but also to the wider region. The outcome of the election may determine the country's immediate political future, but the larger challenge remains how to achieve national unity, sustainable development, and lasting peace in a deeply divided environment. Ultimately, Ethiopia's election serves as a reminder that democracy is not measured only by the act of voting, but also by the ability of all citizens to participate freely, safely, and equally in shaping their nation's future. President Museveni's new cabinet signals continuity, family influence, and strategic alliances. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has unveiled a new cabinet as he begins another term in office, a move that many analysts believe reflects a combination of political continuity, family influence, loyal allies, and experienced figures returning to government. The cabinet, which is expected to consist of 81 ministers once fully approved by parliament, includes several close associates of Museveni's son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Political observers say this development further highlights the growing influence of individuals linked to the president's family within Uganda's political structure. The new administration also features members of prominent political families, reinforcing the role political dynasties continue to play in Uganda's governance. Several appointments have drawn attention because of their family connections and long-standing ties to the country's leadership. In addition, some experienced politicians who previously served in government have made a return to cabinet positions. Their reappointment is being viewed by some analysts as an attempt to combine experience with loyalty as Museveni prepares to govern until 2031. There were also a number of surprise appointments that have generated discussion among political observers, raising questions about the president's long-term strategy and succession planning. Following his inauguration for another term, Museveni pledged that his administration would remain focused on governance and development, describing the coming years as a period of intense work and commitment. President Yoweri Museveni has unveiled a new cabinet for his latest term in office. The cabinet includes allies linked to his son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Members of influential political families have secured key positions. Several veteran politicians have returned to government. Some appointments have surprised political observers. Analysts say the cabinet reflects continuity, loyalty, and long-term political planning. Australia's far-right party leads national poll for the first time. Australia's political landscape may be experiencing a significant shift after a new national opinion poll showed the far-right One Nation party leading for the first time since its formation nearly 3 decades ago. According to the poll, One Nation secured 31% support, ahead of the ruling Labour Party, which recorded 28%. The Conservative Opposition Coalition also saw its support decline, indicating growing dissatisfaction with Australia's traditional political parties. Political analysts believe the rise of One Nation is being driven by concerns over the rising cost of living, economic uncertainty, housing affordability, and immigration policies. These issues have become increasingly important to Australian voters in recent years. The poll results also suggest that the government's recent budget measures have not been well received by many voters. While the reforms were introduced to address long-term economic challenges and housing affordability, many Australians remain unconvinced that the policies will improve their personal financial situation. Although the ruling Labour Party still maintains a narrow advantage under Australia's preference voting system, the poll highlights growing public frustration with the political establishment. The development reflects a trend seen in several Western countries where voters are increasingly turning towards alternative political movements due to economic pressures and concerns about national identity, immigration, and government performance. However, opinion polls do not determine election outcomes, and Australia's next election will ultimately be decided by voters at the ballot box. Nevertheless, the latest figures serve as a warning sign for the country's major political parties that public confidence may be shifting. If the trend continues, Australia's political environment could become more competitive and unpredictable in the years ahead.